Good morning. Namaste. This is Dr. Uma Kiruvetal, Faculty of Agricultural and Veterinary Sciences, Department of Jayoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. So I'll be taking the Agricultural Microbiology Lab this semester. So the first session is a general introduction to microbiology laboratory and its equipment. So what is the requirement for a microbiological laboratory? So in order to know that, you have to know what are microbes. So a microbe or a microorganism is microscopic, as in you cannot see it with the naked eye. You need something to magnify it before you will be able to see that. And that could be single cell or unicellular, or it could be cell clusters or multicellular complex animals also are considered among microorganisms, because like say yeast, when it's budding, there will be 4 cells, but however yeast tetrads are there, but still it is considered to be a microorganism. Like there are other multicellular microorganisms as well, which are too small in order to be seen with visualized with the naked eye, and so you need to view it under a microscope. So a microbiological laboratory deals with how to obtain a pure culture. Pure culture will have only a single type of organism in there. So how to get a pure culture from a mixture of microorganisms, how to isolate them from natural sources like soil, water, or plant materials, like that, like how to isolate microorganisms, how to maintain pure cultures, how to store them, how to use them for various purposes, and all these will be covered in a microbiology laboratory. And with respect to the perspective of agricultural microbiology, we will be dealing with experiments on how to isolate Acetobacter, Azospirillum, Rhizobium, which is a nitrogen fixing bacteria, and that is found in the root nodules of legume plants. So we'll be dealing with these microorganisms and their importance to agricultural microbiology as well. So if we were to look into the various instruments that we have to use in a microbiology lab. So let us go in a very orderly fashion. So let's go with the first one, an analytical balance. Why? Because what you need to do in order to culture a microorganism, you need to prepare medium. So first step for that, you will need to prepare the medium for that, and for that you will need to weigh the components of the medium. So a medium, what exactly is a medium? So medium is basically something like buffered solution with all the nutrients that is required for the growth of the microorganism. So it could be mostly why buffered, because even the microorganism has got its own intracellular environment and there are salts in there. So if you are simply putting it in water without any salts, what is going to happen? Osmosis is going to happen. And due to this, there will be a lot of like water going into the cellular environment, and it could rupture. So slightly buffered solutions which can maintain a pH in and around what the organism prefers is what would be better for the growth. Like there are fungi which grows better in an acidic pH, and then there are bacteria which grow much better at neutral pH. So if we are able to maintain that pH, it will grow otherwise also but to a very lesser extent. But if we are able to maintain the optimum pH by using the buffering salts, then it will give a better pH balance and better growth rate for the microorganism. So with that in mind, now let us look at a analytical balance or a weighing balance as it's called. So I'll share the screen with you. Yeah, so this is essentially a analytical balance. You can see that there is a digital control panel over here, and you can use the tare button in order to make it to 0. This is the pan where we will be keeping our media components in a utensil. So what you will be doing is you will take a piece of butter paper or some plastic container, and in that you will keep it on this pan. And once that is done, you will press tare button so that the total weight will become 0 again. So you are basically setting the instrument plus the weighing containers weight to 0. And then once that is done, you will be adding your media components and taking them out, taking each container out when you have the specific required weight. And then once that is done, you will be adding it into your water of required volume. So if you want to prepare 1 liter of medium, you will be taking about, say, 700 ml of water and adding the components to it, adjusting, then making up the volume to around 800 or 850 ml, and then adjusting the pH, and then finally making up the volume of the solution to the required pH, the pH for the medium. So now you have your analytical balance. What next? I had told you that in your medium preparation, you will be adding it to water. So you can't simply take tap water or go to the nearby river and take water from there, right? Because it will contain a lot of other solutes, dirt particles, and also other microorganisms. It could have a detrimental effect on your medium preparation. So you need sterile water, and also water that is free of other salts or other solute particles. So for that, what you will be basically doing is the use of a distillation method, a distillation unit. So in a distillation unit, what is its principle? So water distiller is a device that purifies water by the process of distillation. So what is distillation? Distillation is basically boiling water. When you are boiling water in a controlled condition and then letting the steam pass through a tube and letting it condense, then what happens? Because the steam wouldn't have any of the solute particles, and then it is condensing into your container. So that will be pure water. And if you are doing this process like twice, that is known as double distilled water, and that will be much more pure and totally free of any solute particle. And there is a way to determine the purity of water. Like pure water has got a very high resistance, and that is how we will be taking determining whether the water is pure enough or not. So in normal laboratories, there is also another setup known as a milli-Q water. That will be a deionization process. That will be ultra pure water with 18 mega ohm resistance. So that means that it will not pass electricity, has got a resistance up to 18 mega ohms. And that is ultra pure water that is used for very high sensitivity reactions, like for molecular biology work. If you are preparing a DNA solution and all, you will be using DNA free water at milli-Q purity. But if you are using a water distiller, it is a normal water setup with a boiler and a condenser, and this distilled water can again be purified and used, and that is basically the water distillation unit. Now you have the water, you have the media components. Now you need to stir it. So the third part is a magnetic stirrer. So why a magnetic stirrer? You could always use a spatula in order to mix it with your hand, right? So why are you using a magnetic stirrer? Because magnetic stirrer is a much easier way of dealing with it. That's all. So if you are having a magnetic stirrer, it will look something like this. Okay, let me please share the image. Yeah. So if you have a magnetic stirrer, it will be looking something like this. So you have a magnetic hot plate over here. So you can also control the temperature. So some compounds will not be soluble at room temperature, but once dissolved, it will remain like that and not precipitate. So you will have a magnetic bead inside. You can see a vortex inside here. So once you have this magnetic bead over here, so let me just reduce the, yeah. So you have a magnetic bead over here. You have put the magnetic bead inside your medium, and so it will be turning. And with that, it will be making vortices in the medium. And for that, you will have two knobs over here. One will be for the heat, with which you can adjust the heating setup of the plate. So be careful if you have put the heat on, do not touch on the surface because it will be very hot and it can cause burns. And then the other one is stir, with which you can determine the amount of stirring that is required. Because if you are putting it at very high stirring and you have used a very small beaker, then the bead will just jump out of it and it will fall out. It will cause the beaker to tilt, or the entire medium will splash out of the beaker. So the stirring setup should be put according to what is your beaker capacity and how much material you have to dissolve with that. So now you have your medium prepared because you have measured the components using an analytical balance. You have added it to pure water that you have obtained using your distillation setup, and then you have mixed it well using a stirrer, magnetic stirrer, and now you need to autoclave it. Why autoclave it? Autoclaving is one of the major the main methods used for sterilization of media. So when you are using an autoclave, what you will be doing is you are heating it at high pressure. So the common the pressure and the temperature used for an autoclave is actually 121 psi. That will be, I mean, 1.15 psi pressure and 121 degree Celsius. So once that is done, what happens is, so there will definitely be the question, we are using water. So how do we attain this 121 degrees Celsius? Because water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So for that, actually, it uses the principle that when the pressure is higher, the water's boiling temperature is also higher. So at 15 psi pressure, if you can maintain 15 psi pressure, then it will maintain the 121 degrees Celsius also when the water is boiling. So if you want to see the autoclave, how it will look like. So this is an autoclave. So an autoclave is essentially a glorified pressure cooker. You could even use a pressure cooker instead of an autoclave. And once it is boiling, it will reach around that 15 psi and 121 degrees Celsius. And once you have that, keep it for 15 minutes, and that will give the same 15 to 20 minutes. So 20 minutes at 15 psi pressure and 121 degrees Celsius is the required working conditions for autoclaving for media. So once you have this, you have an autoclave lid and a safety valve. You have the handles, autoclave body, you have vacuum release and steam release, and there is a pressure gauge in which you will see the pressure. So at this point, there will be a marking over there where it will show that it is reaching the 15 psi pressure. So these are the safety valves, the pressure regulating devices, which will let off the excess steam when the pressure is going above a certain level. So we have set it to 15 psi. So once it is going above, because autoclave is also a dangerous instrument, as in like if you might have heard of pressure cookers exploding if not handled properly. So same thing is applicable for an autoclave as well. So you will be filling water inside it. There will be a level up to which you will fill the water, put a stand over that water level. And once that is kept, then your media components will be kept either inside a container and then kept in the autoclave, or just like that it will be kept and then it will be autoclave. So there is one thing that needs to be checked with an autoclave. You do not add glucose to the medium when you are adding autoclaving your medium. Glucose will be added separately. Like you will make a glucose solution of the required concentration. You will make a stock solution so that you can add, say, 5 ml to a liter or something like that, and you will be keeping that, because there is something called a Maillard reaction that will actually cause your glucose to caramelize if you have put it along with the nitrogen source like yeast extract or beef extract or tryptone or peptone, which contains the nitrogenous sources. Then it will react with those and under heat, and then it will caramelize, get charred, and that is known as Maillard reaction. So that is the principle of an autoclave. Now, one thing I actually missed saying in between was you have prepared your medium. So earlier I had told that once you have used the magnetic stirrer to dissolve it, you will be adjusting the pH. So pH adjustment will be done using a pH meter in the lab. So the pH adjustment, pH meter is also another instrument that needs to be used in the microbiology lab. So with this, you have prepared your medium and kept, and the next part will be the culturing of the microorganisms that we will deal with in the next session. Thank you. Have a good day.